Now on this show, I like to share with you, of course you know that, you do know that, don't you? And it's always about, isn't it, finding places that you think, wow, I never know that person visited there, or did this, or did that, you know? And particularly when you've been fascinated by someone, as I have with this particular Hollywood star. You see, when you think about it, she always sort of played second fiddle to Marilyn Monroe, both signed though to the same studios, 20th Century Fox. In fact, they signed Jayne Mansfield as a rival to try and make Marilyn Monroe behave. That was the idea. Of course, nobody could make Marilyn Monroe behave. As Jayne found out, she continually did play second fiddle. So by the time of the latter part of the 1950s, she was resorting to coming over to places like London in the United Kingdom to make films. Kiss Them For Me, for instance, with Kenneth More, a mild success. But this particular location here, in the very heart of London, the historical Lambeth Palace, well, had a great connection for Jayne Mansfield. You see, in 1960, she came back here to London. Had done many things by this time, as I told you recently. Turned on the lights in Blackpool, the illuminations, opened a flyover in Chiswick in West London. There was nothing that Jayne wouldn't do for publicity. But these pictures actually show you exactly where Jayne was standing, quite literally in the April day of 1960. Filming her latest movie, and what you see is that this is a particular darker plot for Jayne. In fact, she wore a dark wig throughout it. She kind of played a mole's accomplice, but with all the usual sexuality and charm that Jayne really had. Sadly, the movie wasn't a huge success at that particular time. But one person who was in the movie was none other than another English blonde sex bomb, Barbara Windsor, she of the Carry On films. And she told me that basically Jayne insisted at one point that her hair should be darker because there could only be one blonde in a Mansfield film. Then she relented because she realised that Barbara was playing it for laughs rather than for this big sex symbol. The reason why I mention it here is when you do come to London and you see pictures like this and you think, wow, the incredible Jayne Mansfield was waiting here with a huge film crew. Then she goes across the road and then goes down by the side of the pier to jump on a boat to speed away to save, of course, the world, no doubt. Well, it really all happens around, doesn't it? And it's only when you find these things out and you go, wow. And when you look at the reports, literally thousands of people turned up on that particular day to watch this very small segment of filming. Of course, for many other people, this particular door was the door that Edward went through to meet the then Archbishop of Canterbury in 1936 to tell him that he either could marry Wallis Simpson or indeed he was going to resign as king. So you see, a double whammy on the tour of London. If you are around and about, do check it out. They do wonderful tours. There's a garden tour also, a little bit pricey, but again, you know, ask Meghan Markle. They do secret weddings, let's not forget. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.